I feel on fire this morning. I woke up and I was a bit grumpy and my stomach was a bit crumpy and my throat went all bad. As you can hear it, what else could cure everything? I mean, yes! Wow, let's jump right into it. How you doing, my people? My name is Sultanga. Thank you for joining me again today. I am going to be talking about drawing tablets. Who needs a drawing tablet? Do you need a drawing tablet? Do you think you need a drawing tablet? Before you grab yourself one, let me walk you through it. I myself have used drawing tablets for about 7 years now, so it's a pretty long time. And I've used what I think are one of the two biggest brands in the drawing tablet industry, which is the Wacom and now the HUION. Let me take you back a few years ago. In about 2014, I grabbed my first ever drawing tablet, the Wacom. I'd always wanted to grab one for me, but they don't sell one here in Uganda, so I had to travel to get one. When I got one, my life was changed. I immediately ditched the mouse because of the work that I was doing, which included a lot of Photoshop, Illustrator, cinema. At the time, I wanted to jump into 3D animation, and I was doing a lot of modeling and things, and then video editing. And this completely changed and revolutionized the way I work. And I recommend it to everyone that I knew because it was amazing. This became too small for me and I used it for a very long time, and it was time to upgrade. So when I upgraded to this. I upgraded to a bigger one, which you can now see is about twice the size of the small one, or about, yeah. So, and I loved this. I used this for years, and with how big it was easy for me to draw, it was easy for me to edit, it was easy for me to paint, because it felt like I was doing everything on a big piece of paper. I've never looked back. I've never gone to using mouses. And when I use when I use those things now, it slows me down. And I do use them, but I use them when I'm dragging and dropping and maybe sometimes cutting things out in Photoshop. But mainly about 80 or 90% of my work, I do it using this one. Now, I've been using Wacom for a very, very long time, and I use this, and then the pen became glitchy, and I think it worn out a bit. And then I was like, you know what? I've used this thing for a very long time. I need to upgrade to a new one. I wanted to get another one that is the new model. Maybe it has some functionalities that this one didn't have. Oh, I was also contemplating of getting one with a screen, but that was really too expensive. And you know what? When I looked into my cash, I realized I need just one to replace this one that I had. And I did some research on the internet, went on into the rabbit hole of drawing tablets, and then I discovered a gem. I never knew it existed before. I mean, about 5.5 years or 6 years of using drawing tablets, I never looked at any other alternative or any other option. But then, through that rabbit hole, I came to one thing. This baby. Now, disclaimer, this video is not a comparison between which of the two brands is better. But I'll tell you, when I saw this, I was a bit skeptical, because when you look at online, there is lots of people that still use the HUION tablet, but also there is lots of people that will tell you that it's not as good as the Wacom. And yes, to a certain point, and I'll explain why. But I'll start with the good parts. Now, the good parts about this is that it's beautiful. I mean, it has a very large surface area. It's about 13.8 to 8.6, I think. the surface area. It's much bigger than the Wacom that I started with, or the Wacom that I later upgraded to. Just for instance, let me show you. Now, this is the Wacom that I started with, and this thing here that I'm now using. As you can see, you can get about 1, 2, and maybe 3 of these inside this. No, so this is how big this one is. I love the surface area because it's much bigger than the previous ones. That means that my hand can move a lot more freely while I'm doing work, while I'm editing. It feels a bit more natural for me using this. It's got a few things like the lights on the bulb, the lights to indicate that you have you're using your pen, the wireless, the battery, if it's charging, and then the percentage of the battery down here. It has an on and off switch when you're using the Wi-Fi, and it also has these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 buttons that can all be customized according to what you want. I use a lot of Photoshop, Final Cut Pro now, but I also use a lot of After Effects, and I've used a lot of Premiere. And this thing has integrated smoothly in all my editing software that I've used. Because I use softwares that are very highly dependent on customizing keys, I find these keys and the number of keys that on the options that I have really working for me, because that means that you can limit how much time you have on the keyboard and customize 12 buttons to the most important things that you want and the most important things that you use. When you look at the back of this thing, there is this. Now, this is the adapter or the dongle that will serve the Wi-Fi to this thing. I'll get back to you is why I don't think this is a very good idea. It comes with a cable, a USB type mini, the USB mini charger that charges all our Android phones. Here they call them Android chargers. So it comes with a USB Android charger, and if you lose it, then that means that there is another USB that you can grab for it anywhere from your local store or from your local shop. The pen though, I'll get for you. So this pen is, the ergonomics are designed in a way that you feel as if you're gripping a real pen. Coming from a pen background, I mean, what, nearly 16, 20 years in school, I was used to a pen or a pencil that is sharpened, so it had all these ridges in the sides, and when I'm using this pen or when I'm gripping this pen, it feels very normal to me. It doesn't feel like a foreign thing. It feels as if I've used it before, hence I think the quicker adaptation to it. It also has this, the pen stool, I call it the pen stool, where the pen sits, and at the bottom of the pen stool, like the other drawing tablets, it has your nibs. So these nibs can be changed when you've run out or when you finish this, and then you can change to other nibs. And I think other nibs have different sizes, so depending on what you want and what strokes you want, you can always change. It also has a small tiny mini light here. It looks weird. You do without it, but I think it's to indicate if your pen is working or if it doesn't blink when you try to charge it, then that means that something wrong is going on with your pen, so then you'll know. If you're into reading books and you're thinking, which book should I read that will help me expand my thinking, that will help me broaden the way I view things and interpret day-to-day events and life? Well, Mr. Moon Mountain is a small boutique publishing house based in Australia, and they answer that question. They produce books that are designed to expand the way you think and expand the way you reason, increase your consciousness, and make you look at things in a very much broader and different perspective. I'll leave a link in the description below and go and check them out. The way it sounds or the way it feels, it is very plasticky. I know others have the Wacom is also plastic, but the way this sounds, it feels like it's cheap and it's hollow inside, which makes me wonder how long I'm going to use this for. Though I love how big it is, I can't travel with it because it takes a lot of space. All my drawing tablets I traveled with because with the bags that I carry, they seem to fit in perfectly. This one doesn't seem to fit in. I know they make other models, but I got this because of how big it was and I wasn't thinking about if I wanted to travel with it. The other thing is here at the back where we keep the dongle for the Wi-Fi, I think I'm gonna lose it. I think I will lose this thing if I use it a lot. So I'm very clumsy like that, and I wish they'd made and built-in Wi-Fi within the tablet. I'm sure probably the newer models have that, and this was an older model. This is what I could afford, so it is good for me. The pen also has this charging thing, so and the cable is really very new to me. I'd never seen it before, and I haven't seen any other cable like that. So if I lose it, which I think I did, I may have to buy another new pen or another ship for another new cable, which then opens up another kind of worms. And the pen too, when you tap it like this, you can feel it rattling and making a lot of sound, which feels very plasticky, and I'm afraid if I drop it, and you can feel it when I drop it down, it feels like it's going to break anytime soon. But other than that, I love everything about this new setup, and it's going great for me. So it feels to me that I've used it for enough time to be able to recommend it to someone or to be able to talk about it and to anyone that wants to buy a new tablet or someone that is thinking of buying a tablet or thinking of jumping into the tablet world. The other thing is the software. It's a bit hard to navigate. It took me a couple of hours for me to find my way around the software. It's not really intuitive and it needs you to figure out a lot. Okay, who should buy a tablet? That's the question you might be wanting to answer. Should you buy a tablet or not? Are you a graphic designer? Are you a 3D modeler? Are you an editor? Can you do without a tablet? Personally, I cannot do without a tablet because of the nature of the work that I do in Photoshop, where I do a lot of skin retouch, where I do a lot of brushing, where I do a lot of fine details when it comes to hair replacement and things like that. I think I need a drawing tablet, a Wacom or a HUION 95% of the time. So that means that I actually need it in my day-to-day work. When I'm editing, it's adapted into me now that I edit with this thing and it makes my work really faster. For graphic designers, not so much, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to have a link in the description here, linked to a video that my friend Paul Zana described why you should not buy a drawing tablet if you're a graphic designer. He has some really good points in there, and if you're a graphic designer and you thought that you needed it, maybe have a look at the video. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Before you buy it, watch that video. Otherwise, for me, I think that with the work that I do, I need it because it saves a lot of time for me. In fine details, especially when you're brushing, when you need to get in, because again, it's pen pressures that you cannot achieve using a mouse. It has over 8,000 levels of pen pressure. That means that I can use even the slightest of strokes and I'll still register movement and I'll still register data in everything that I'm trying to do. So to me, it's very useful, it's very amazing for me, and I would recommend anyone that is doing Photoshop. If you don't have it, you should get it, especially if you're doing a lot of post-production which requires skin retouch, color replacement, a dodging band, and a lot of brushing, things like that. You know what I'm talking about. If you're doing video editing, I think that you can integrate this into it, especially After Effects. If you're a 3D modeler, I can't even stress this. If you're using Cinema, Maya, ZBrush, Blender, any of those, this is a must. I'll say you need it about 100%. With that said, if you want me to jump into this drawing tablet a bit further and how you can customize it and use it, leave it in the description below, especially if you purchased one but need to get into the more finer details of it. Well, just comment in the description below and I'll be sure to do that for you. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a pleasure making these videos, and every day when I wake up I feel pumped to create new ones. If there is anything you want me to tackle, and thank you so much for watching this video. I feel pumped every time I'm making these videos. If there is anything you want me to tackle, if you're starting out as a photographer, if you're starting out as an editor, just hit me up for whichever question you have and I'll try to answer that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like button for me. And if you don't want to miss out on any videos, go ahead and subscribe or hit the notification button so you could be informed every time I release a video. Other than that, my name is Chris Lutanga. Keep creating and I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye. Thank you so much for, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a pleasure making it. If you like this video, go ahead and comment. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for, thank you so much.